Our first taste of Small Brawl taught us to expect that this tournament will mostly take place in simple, mundane levels. But we're already swerving into challenge mode to play the new bonus level we unlocked, and it's going to dash those expectations by taking place in a mad scientist laboratory, complete with Frankenstein It's Alive table in the center. Who better to tackle such horror than Spectre? Not typically a horror-themed vehicle, but this one is driven by a ghost. Or rather, a shy boy who dresses as a ghost to maintain his anonymity. He's so anonymous, in fact, that there are aspects of his personal life that even he doesn't know about. That's why he wishes to meet his long-lost father. And I am impeding that goal by pitting him against the scariest opponents in all of Twisted Metal, like Shadow, Sweet Tooth, Mr. Grimm, and Crimson Fury. It's the color of blood, so must be scary. I also put in Axel because that's a brand new character. Axel actually could not have appeared in the last level because he wasn't unlocked yet. And if we don't have access to it, the AI doesn't have access to it. That means there are other unlockable vehicles that we cannot yet see in-game, which is why I'm rushing through these bonus levels as quickly as possible. We gotta see these characters as much as we can, so we'll have them unlocked soon enough. And hey, here's a new character. One of my favorites, Abby. We've freed her to bounce lazily across the floor. Doesn't seem to have any particular goal in mind, but she bounced back up onto the counter. There she is. Couple more bounces before she just disappears. No especially gory animation when she bursts like a bubble. She's also not an environmental hazard, so no one was in any danger while she was bouncing around. We also got to blow up a skull that was smaller than the brain that was just bouncing around. So, never would have even really fit in there. And I'm realizing that perhaps this game never even attempted to court that E rating, because this is some pretty spicy T-rated action. The people at Incognito made a good call bringing in David Goodrich to be the lead designer on this game, because he clearly has those Twisted Metal sensibilities down. They probably picked him because he had previously worked on the Vigilante 8 series, but he'd never touched a Twisted Metal game. And they gave him a year to make this game from scratch, basically. And that included the time he had to spend building an entire team so as to make the game, because anyone who had ever made Twisted Metal before was working on Black, or Black Online, or after that, Harbor City, even though that never came to pass. So the traditional Twisted Metal talent was fully tapped out. They were not touching Small Brawl in the year 2001. They did manage to assemble a strong new team to work on this game, and they were going to build the whole thing in the Twisted Metal Black engine, which would have made this one of the best games in the entire series. Something that played exactly like Black but had the fun sensibilities of the earlier games. Sign me the hell up. Unfortunately, executives did some market research and learned that their target demographic did not have PlayStation 2s. They were still using their hand-me-down PS1s. Executives also feared that releasing a new game in the Black engine would cut into sales of Twisted Metal Black Online. And that was a game that you received for free if you purchased the online adapter for your PS2. So I guess they were saying that less people would buy that adapter if they could just get a brand new game that didn't require an expensive peripheral to play. This all meant that in the middle of the development cycle for Small Brawl, it had to be dropped back a console generation onto weaker hardware, and the developers who had never worked on Twisted Metal before had to create a brand new engine from scratch because they didn't have the rights to the old single-track engine. And that is why this game controls so weird and is among my least favorite in the series to play. But at least the executives were happy. There are these burners on the side, which activate if you shoot them. In fact, there are a number of environmental objects in this level that will change their state if you shoot them with your machine gun, including the table in the center. Try to explain how to manipulate that when we get closer to it. For now, we've got these leaking beakers dripping some kind of acid onto the counter. Fine, I'll show you what the acid does. When you get splashed with it, it puts this steaming effect on your car, which is functionally identical to being on fire. Damage over time, using turbo puts it out immediately. This table is controlled by shooting the bars on either side of it, and I believe the direction you shoot them from determines which way the table tilts. I believe it tilts towards whatever side of the bar you shoot. And it can be raised so that it lies flat, like that. I believe that happens if you shoot the side that it is tilted towards already. Then it'll go flat. I don't know, it's extremely hard to keep track of, because every stray bullet changes the state of that table. And if you shoot the electricity nodes at the top of the table, it will then send a wave of electricity across the table, damaging anybody who's still on it at that point. You gotta just sort of go with the flow there, because one of the 2 health pickups in this entire level spawns in the center of that table. And it's there right now, and I need it, because I have very low HP. This car can get blown up very quickly. I'm 1 bullet away from it, but I got the refill I needed. And there's only 2 enemies left. I'm down to my last life, and I've skirted death many times. I'm gonna want to start abusing my special to attack from safety, which is those 3 ghosts there, and you will be unsurprised if you've ever played Twisted Metal before that they can travel through walls and obstacles to get to their target. So as long as they're locked on, they're super hard to avoid. That dumbwaiter is the other way to get up to the counters. Don't necessarily have to use the table. And it's probably the better way, because it doesn't go berserk when the enemies shoot it. Also, you won't end up like Axel here, who had to climb up the table while I was sending a wave of electricity down it, ruining his poor life. Now all that remains is Shadow. Break some more beakers, destroy the last couple of things, but we have actually seen all the interactables here in Shock Therapy. So I'll just make a quick note of the music. This is a remade version of the main title theme from Twisted Metal 2. And it's very easy to miss that, because they layered like lead guitars over it to distract from the elements that are similar to the Twisted Metal 2 theme. I didn't catch it myself until I listened to both songs back to back. So it sounds like an original piece that is well suited to this level, but it's also a nice little tribute to the classic soundtracks. Well done to the composer. Fun fact about the remote bomb in this game, the model in-game says Big Boom on the side, and you would never get close enough to actually read it. And the model for the fire missiles says Comet on the side. But it's power missiles that bring us home this time. Now we get to watch Spectre's really confusing ending.
Oh yeah! You won the game, and now you want me to find your old man. Well, tough. All I could dig up was this stupid picture.
Dad? The key to Spectre.
Second ending in a row where the child character wins a real Twisted Metal car to do with as they please. I didn't really plan it that way. I just thought this particular ending was very important to see as early as possible, because it makes Small Brawl somehow canon to the classic Twisted Metal series. That was a photograph of Ken Masters in that locket, who drove Spectre in Twisted Metal 2. That means this entire game takes place in a world where Twisted Metal is a known quantity, and I guess that means all of our RC cars are merchandise based off of actual cars that took part in the competition. The implications behind all this boggle the mind, so draw your own conclusions. But wait, there's more! Last time I talked about how impressively interactable this entire level was, as I tore it to pieces for 20 minutes. And then Evie Lunas in the comments informed me that I had neglected to show off the most impressive destructible of them all. Obtained by standing right there and shooting the ceiling until the entire part of the level collapses in on itself, leaving behind nothing but a roof that you can use as a ramp. If you don't feel like using the slide to line up your shot, you can also go underneath and fire at the pole that holds up the whole play place, and eventually it'll come crashing down just the same, right on top of you. It'll deal a little bit of damage when it lands on you, but not very much. And that should be as destroyed as this level can possibly get. See you next time as we return to tournament mode and check out the next level that directly follows the Playground Panic.